A mnemonic or mnemonic device is any device or technique used to assist memory. It typically involves forming an association between the information you want to remember and another piece of encoded information. There are many different types of mnemonic devices. An acrostic forms a phrase using the first letters of the information you want to remember, such as never eat soggy waffles for the directions on a compass. There are also acronyms like Roy G. Biv. And there are rhymes or songs like the rule I before E except after C. And side note, this rule is probably somewhere between mildly helpful and entirely misleading. There are quite a few other techniques like visualization, or chunking, or storytelling. But for this video, I'll mostly be focusing on the mnemonics involving wordplay that you'll find in STEM. We all know and love PEMDAS, at least definitely if you're in the United States, that is. But it's just so difficult to remember the particular order of these operations. Well, certainly you would never forget to please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, would you? Or maybe you prefer the mnemonic pancake explosion, many deaths are suspected. Or perhaps you'd like to think about some happy pink elephants. And here's a good one for the eggplant haters out there. And here are just a few more to choose from. If you're not from the US, then you're probably more familiar with BEDMAS or BODMAS, but these are all effectively the same. If you've ever heard of or have seen a triangle, then you may be familiar with SOHCAHTOA, as well as its association with hippies. Pi philology is the creation and use of mnemonics to remember digits of pi. And Pilish is a writing style where the number of letters in each word corresponds to the digits of pi. For example, you can recall the first 9 digits of pi using the phrase, "How I wish I could recollect pi easily today." Or you can use this phrase to remember 15 digits. Or perhaps you would prefer a nice poem to help you remember 30 digits of pi. And if you're trying to recall the decimals of E, just remember that Andrew Jackson was the 7th president. He was elected in 1828 and served 2 terms. And his favorite triangle was the 45-90-45. I value xylophones like cows do milk is a phrase that can help you remember the 7 basic symbols used in Roman numerals. You may have said the phrase low D high minus high D low all over low low, or some variation of this phrase while taking Calc 1. And lipid and Lie8 may conjure up some fond memories of doing integration by parts in Calc 2. It's not actually true that all students take calculus, but it's helpful for recalling which trig functions are positive in which quadrant. Concave up looks like a cup, and concave down looks like a frown. Keep, change, flip might be a classic mnemonic from your childhood, as well as FOIL, our favorite method for multiplying 2 binomials. And who could forget singing the quadratic formula to the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel? I've personally found myself struggling to remember the order of SI prefixes, but some mnemonics can be quite helpful, like the great man King Henry's daughter Beth drinks cold milk until 9 p.m. Of course, Roy G. Biv is a well-known acronym for the colors of the rainbow, but there are also a few acrostics like Richard of York gave battle in vain. And apparently this acronym is used as well, and it is pronounced Vibgyor. Here are some phrases to remember the 7 main types of electromagnetic radiation in order of increasing frequency. You can recall the speed of light in meters per second by counting the letters in the phrase, "We guarantee certainty," clearly referring to this light mnemonic. If you need to recall the decay chain of uranium-238, use the phrase, "A bitty bitty ant asked another ant about bitty bitty ants' bitty bitty aunts." Here's a phrase for the ideal gas law. And you can remember all of the gas laws using a visual mnemonic like this. Good honey tastes sweet is a helpful mnemonic for the Gibbs-free energy equation. And yeah, I think that's about all the important mnemonics in physics. Can't think of any others, really. The electronic color code is used to indicate values on electronic components. The first 10 colors give the resistance value, while gold, silver, and no color indicate the tolerance of this value. All of these mnemonics do not include the tolerances. And here are a few that do include tolerances. This one is a bit complex and outside the scope of this video, but maybe I'll explain it some other time. Eli the Iceman reminds us that EMF leads current in an inductor and current leads EMF in a capacitor. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, power equals I squared R. And these triangles can help you remember Ohm's law and the power law. To avoid an unfortunate encounter with poison ivy, remember leaves of 3, leave them be. Mrs. Grin reminds us of the processes that define living things. I think most of us probably said the phrase, King Philip came over for good soup in 9th grade biology. There are also mnemonics for the cranial nerves, carpal bones, layers of the scalp, bones of the upper limbs, the cell cycle, and the Krebs cycle. But my personal favorite is the mnemonic for kidney functions. If you ever forget the order of the planets, including Pluto, just remember my very educated mother just served us 9 potatoes. And if you don't care about Pluto, you can use any of these. And you might like these mnemonics if you're mad about Pluto not getting the respect it deserves. If you've taken an astronomy course, you may be familiar with this mnemonic for the classification of stars. And here's one to remember the order of the zodiac constellations. This mnemonic may help you remember the first 20 elements of the periodic table. And this one can help you remember the site of oxidation and reduction. Or if you forget what oxidation and reduction are, just remember Leo the lion says grr. Cations are positive, and an anion is a negative ion. And CHNOPS is an acronym for the 6 most abundant elements in living matter. Well, those are all of the mnemonics I have for now. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.